family, yeah, welcome back to another reaction video. Guys, today we're checking out another video. Okay, this is things that shocked me in the US after living in Germany. So he has been living in Germany for a very long time and he just going over to US. Things that shocked him. Hey! I can't really wait to check, guys. If this is the first time meeting me, my name is Nazania. Welcome to today's video. So without further ado, join me. Let's quickly get in. Yeah.
We hadn't left Germany and gone to the US in 2 years. So
2 years.
What was it like when we finally did? And which country have you ended up preferring?
In 2 years. Germany.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are 2 Americans currently living in Germany with our baby, sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. We've been living in Germany for about 3.5 years now, and we hadn't gone back to the US for 2 years. I've of course been making videos about our experiences as Americans living in Germany and the things that surprise or shock us about the differences in culture and way of life here in Germany. But after 2 years of living strictly in Germany and not stepping foot in the US, I think I hadn't realized just how normal life in Germany has started to become for us. Or I've made some videos about things based on our experiences in the US, but had comments from Americans telling me that actually some of those things have changed in the US since we left, and those things that we were used to in the US aren't really a thing anymore. All this to say, when we went back to the US this Christmas and spent a month traveling across the southern United States and then up to the northwestern part of the United States, we were shocked at just how many things shocked us into wild reverse culture shock moments. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in our video.
Okay.
Habt ihr Bock for our reverse culture shock?
Shock.
So as soon as Aubrey and I landed in the US, we started a shared note on our phones. So that's the list that I'm going to be reading from, and some of this will be just simply things that will be rapid fire given, and I'll briefly mention it, and then some things will require a little bit more of an explanation. Okay. So one of the very first things that we noticed as soon as we got off the plane and we started driving around is that storage units are everywhere. So this is something that you do see in Germany, and actually it was kind of funny because whenever we saw these in the US, we thought, wow, there's tons of these, and I don't know if I can think of a single one in Germany that we've ever seen, because I do think that it is kind of a stereotype in Germany that Germans don't keep as much, I guess, extra junk, and if they don't need it, they get rid of it, whereas Americans kind of hoard things sometimes more than Germans do. But as soon as we got off the plane in Germany and we started driving home, we actually did drive by a couple of storage unit businesses. So they do exist in Germany, but just not nearly at the extent that they are in the US. We have on our list written literally just toilets. And Aubrey wrote that one, and ever since she mentioned it to me, I started noticing it more and more, and I realized what she was talking about. So we know that in Germany, you typically will have 2 buttons, a smaller one and a bigger one for the size of flush, for the size of job that you did in the toilet. And in the US, you will typically just have a lever that we've gotten used to on German toilets, pushing a button. And so whenever we would get done using the toilet in the US, we would reach over for either the tank or the wall just out of kind of instinct and try to push a button, but there was no button. And then we had to remember that on the side of the tank was a lever. So it was a different hand action than what we normally.
You guys, this will disturb you a lot because every time you just be pushing the walls, looking for the buttons. Oh my god. Ew. Guys, this will really disturb them, yeah. Because I know something is that, okay, even when normally maybe you change your phone, you will still think that, okay, you're still using the same setting as the old phone. Oh my god, guys. Normally
would do. So it's just kind of a funny little thing that we didn't realize, wow, after 2 years of doing that, we've really gotten muscle memory of buttons rather than pushing down a flusher. Oh gosh, this next one is something that really surprised Aubrey and I, how much we have gotten Germanized in this, and that is one, the amount of carpet in American homes, and German homes we've really gotten used to no carpet large rugs and lots of rugs. But that's not the more shocking thing. What we were more shocked by is, of course, the classic Americans wearing shoes inside their homes. We've really gotten used to not wearing shoes inside of our house because we don't want our baby down on the floor where we've stepped in gross things outside or in public bathrooms and then track that in our house. But also we've gotten used to that just when we go to Germans' homes, taking our shoes off. And it was so surprising how much we were noticing and getting kind of grossed out by all of our family and friends wearing shoes inside their homes. No offense, family and friends, but especially on carpet for some reason. I know like on hard floors we can mop and clean them pretty easily, but carpet, just thinking like more you just vacuum, but you're still getting that stuff down in the grains of the carpet. So seeing shoes on that was really just, couldn't believe how Germanized we got with that while we've been here for the last 2 years.
Okay, yes, guys. You know, like, should I say this is like, should I say culture or something? Not only Germany, I think the whole Europe. Because even in Korea, like, we do watch a lot of movies. Like, I'm a K-drama fan. Like, I think it's just general for Europeans. But guys, in some places in this like we do wear our shoes inside the houses. Like some places here, you have to ask. If you see them removing, then you remove. But if you see them wearing it inside, you just wear it inside. Yo guys, I wonder how it will be. Like, it will be so itchy. Like, it will be just itchy, like, to tell them, please, can you remove your shoes? Yo, guys, okay, let's get
So
together.
we spent, of course, a lot of time driving around in the US. And with that, of course, we noticed some driving differences. One being something that we've talked about in so many videos, and Germans are adamant that they have it right, and I'm adamant that they don't have it right, and that is the stoplight placement. It was amazing. Again, driving and being able to comfortably sit and just look across the intersection and see the light just right there in perfect view rather than it being right directly over your head like in Germany. And I know Germans always like to say, well, you can look to the right and you'll see the light on the pole that's more at a comfortable eye level, but what's the purpose of having those extra lights when you have those up there? Just put those across the way and you don't have to have the extra money spent on the lights down on the side. However, with the stoplights, there is something that I swear that the Germans do better, and that is the traffic light sequence. I love the red going to yellow and then green, letting you know to kind of get ready that the light is about to turn green, whereas in the US, it's just red and then surprise green. I feel like if Germany and the US would come together on this, we could have the most superior light system in the world, but unfortunately, we both are making our mistakes there.
Wait, guys. So, how is it that the one in Germany is just directly on? Like, at least it should be a bit far so that it can actually know not to checking up, guys. You and America, please. Why is it so? Why is it from red to green? What happens to yellow? Then why is the yellow? Why is the yellow bulb there? Like, why? Why jumping over like from red to green? What happens to yellow? What happens to get ready? Like, get ready, like, so on our car and get ready. You guys, a lot of things happening in Germany and America that like, guys, the difference like is so much. Like, it's so much. The difference is so much. Yo, they are. Which number are we in it? Right, like, I think this is the fourth one. Okay, we're going over to the fifth one. Okay, guys, let's do this.
Real quick, I wanted to remind you guys that a link to our merch shop is in the description below, and also wanted to give a huge big shout out to our patrons over on our Patreon channel for supporting our channel. If you would like to know more ways that you can support our channel, a link to our Patreon is in the description below, but also just simply hitting that like and subscribe button goes a super long way. So thanks so much for doing that. So whenever we went and visited our first family members, we got a hotel room, but the hotel gave us our room keys and they told us that we were on the second floor. And we got in the elevator, then Aubrey and I both looked at each other while we were trying to figure out what button to push to go up, and it was almost like shocking how confused we were on which button to push because we didn't know what floor to go to. In the US, the ground floor is the first floor, and then the next floor is the second floor. In Germany, the ground floor is the ground floor. And the next floor would be the first floor. So we've gotten really used to now when we're told in Germany that we're on the second floor to go not from the ground floor, not on the next floor, but the next floor that the US would call the third floor. So whenever we were in the US, our first time to be told again the old way that we used to know, and they told us to go to the second floor, we wanted to go to what I guess we would think is the third floor, but then we had to remember that it's actually one floor down. But simply just out of practice of doing this for the last 3.5 years, but 2 years uninterrupted, we had a hard time figuring out which floor to go to in the hotel. And speaking of the hotel, something that I just found hilarious to see again was a room in the hallway that was labeled ice. This is something that you won't see in Germany, but in US hotels, you typically have a room where you have a ice machine so that anybody on that floor can always have access to free ice anytime they want it. And usually in your hotel room, you'll have a bucket that is your ice bucket that you'll carry down there that the hotel provides, and then you can have ice in your room. German hotels do not have that because people don't put ice in drinks very often. That was kind of surprising to us. When we were in the US, we were reminded of kind of a quirk, I guess, of the US, and that is how they have not adopted the international standard street signs. In Europe in particular, and Germany, of course, is one of these. They've adopted a very standardized set of street signs, and those are dominated by icons, which of course makes sense because you have a lot of people that don't speak German that are coming through Germany. And so if you have street signs that are just in German, you know, what are they supposed to do, especially when you're driving? So that was one thing that kind of shocked us about the US, is that they haven't adopted these street signs that we've gotten really used to seeing, but also how many American street signs are just English text and no icons. When you're driving it down a road going like 45 miles an hour and you're passing by a sign and you have to read multiple lines of English and your English isn't like super good to be able to read it like quickly, it almost makes no sense. We don't have icons so that people can just look at it and just know what they need to know. That signage in the US is very helpful for one demographic, and that is English speakers.
Wait guys, like, speaking on this, I think in our side we use signs. Yeah, the one of signs. School children, they will just draw children crossing roads, like a lot. But guys, the one of reading, like, it's gonna be long, and I think there are advantages and disadvantages to it, to the both of them. Because okay, what if people driving for the signs and they don't really get the meaning of what the sign is for? What they do, like, they can't just sit to browse what it means. Or guys, yeah, I mean, yes, because what if we don't even know the particular sign that was kept there? You don't know the exact meaning for it. Okay, and for the English, what about the people that don't understand English at all? Guys, you, I think the two of them is just so somehow for the good, and but two of them has pros and cons to it. Yo guys, okay, since Germany is like not really all Germans speak English, I think that's why the signs are mostly used in their side. So what if they go to America? How will they now cope? Americans, you should consider both signs, please. Oh, okay.
Another house difference is the light switches. Most of our light switches that we have seen in Germany are like these square paddles.
Yes.
Whenever we were in the US, where we have a little peg that comes out and it's a switch, is I kind of do this like hand thing where I like either fold in my index finger or I spread my fingers and I take the peg on my middle finger and flick it up, or I'll slap it down with my middle finger whenever I walk in a room. Whenever we came back to Germany, even after only being in the US for a month, I was walking into rooms and I was noticing that I was sticking my hand out and like doing that motion and sticking my middle finger out to flick it or flip it down. And I was just whiffing, you know, just smacking the air and nothing was happening. And it was like, oh yeah, the switches here are paddles that you have to like push. So I've had to like retrain to kind of like slap the paddle up or down, which is a weird, like just how quickly my body, I guess the muscle memory just switches to one switch.
You guys, the cultural differences are like a lot of differences, a lot of differences that they do. Oh my god, yeah, I know the switch in the US. I think we had it back like it's been long I saw that type. Like nowadays, everyone is replacing it with just this switch, like the one for the Germany one. Like that's what we use mostly here now. But back in the days, I remember when we were still little, we do have the one of switching. Like it just pam, just it just it's just put like this, boom, and it's off, or like this. But now you either have to push it down or like, guys, I still prefer that old one because it's kind of fun when you want to just guys, you which one do you prefer, please? And guys, in the course of this video, if you love my reaction, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share, subscribe, and yes, guys, we also have a link where you can buy me coffee, and you can also subscribe any video that you love us to react to. Just send any link or any song description you will love us to react to through the buy me coffee link, and we'll definitely react to it. Okay guys, let's get in and continue.
One thing that I actually would be interested in you guys letting me know in the comments. Do you see gated communities in Germany? I mean, I see, of course, driveways that might have a gate to their driveway, but I haven't seen very many like living communities where to be able to access all of the houses in it where you have a gate. And that was one thing that we noticed in the US is that is a very desired neighborhood. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a sketchy area. It can be in a really nice part of town. It's almost like a status symbol. So do these exist in Germany? Let me know in the comments below.
Yes. Okay, wait guys. Yes, it exists in Nigeria like a lot. Like maybe estates. Many estates in Nigeria have gates. Many. Like we just have a central gate where you drive in with one and go out. Like we have a lot in Nigeria. A lot. Mainly estates. Yeah. Or let me say big or private areas. That's where we get that. But if it's just general or normal or like even villages, some villages in Nigeria have gates too. Yes. Yo. At least we have that one too.
And in terms of something else that we hadn't remembered is such a desired thing in the US are called culdesacs. Culdesac. It's either cul-de-sac or culdesac. But what these are is basically like a dead end road. There's a circle at the end of the dead end where people can like turn around and be able to drive out. And this is like the most desired location if you're going to live in an American neighborhood because you don't have all of the traffic from the main roads inside of a neighborhood or inside of a town. And so it's usually like a very safe place for kids to be able to play. The houses around them can kind of watch over them if they need to. And it's also typically a quieter place since you don't have that traffic. But in Germany, you don't have these like at all. I don't think I've ever seen a cul-de-sac. We have on this list written fire hydrant, something we've talked about before. Just in Germany, you don't really see any fire hydrants because a lot of them are actually underground, whereas in the US, they're all above ground and you see them everywhere. However, in Germany, even when you do see one above ground, it looks different than an American fire hydrant. That's pretty much it. One of the classic things you always hear foreigners talking about in Germany is how pretty much everything is shut down on Sundays. In particular, the most famous one of all, grocery stores. Grocery stores are one of the main things that Americans go to on Sundays. A lot of times that's when they get their grocery shopping done for the week. So that was kind of shocking. There was one moment where we were at some of our family's house on a Saturday and we were sitting around talking and they were talking about food they needed to get for a little party they were going to be throwing. And they said, oh, well, we'll just go tomorrow. And both Aubrey and I initially, like our first reaction was like, oh, tomorrow's Sunday. As if to say like, oh, it's closed. We should go tonight or we should go Monday. But then we were like halfway through saying, oh, we're in America. You can go on Sunday. And speaking of the grocery store, I did go to a couple different grocery stores with some of my family. I really was shocked by whenever I got to the checkout line, the speed of things getting done there. So this is very classic again, something you always see foreigners talking about in Germany is how in German grocery stores, they just go like zack, 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 just scanning your items and just throwing it down to the end, and you bag yourself. And so you gotta either throw it in the basket real quick and you'll just bag it later because you don't have time to keep up with them and bagging it right then, or you have your bags ready to go and you just throw it in and you know what you're doing quickly. But in the US, man, no joke, I had completely forgotten about what this experience is like. And the checkout guy was just like, so, beep, what are you guys gonna be doing today? Beep. Oh, is this what you're having for dinner? Beep. In the US, you almost always have someone bag your groceries for you, or the checkout person will check out your goods and then bag it, or directly bag things as they're checking things out. But then I realized there's nobody here. This guy's gonna be doing it. We're taking half an hour just to scan our goods. So I went ahead and went around, I grabbed some bags, start throwing it in, and I just realized again, man, I am creepily becoming too German. That one, that was bugging me, that it was going so slow, and two, that I was like, here, let me just grab a bag and I'm just gonna do it myself. I felt like, whoa, I would never have done that before I moved to Germany, but things are happening. Things are changing.
You guys, like, exactly, like, it can actually talk, like, not discussion, not like, but a little discussion. Here is just be scanning it, boom, 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 but not as fast like the way Germans are saying theirs are. Even like literally everyone that's been doing videos like about German supermarket to say it's so super fast and you have to bag it yourself. But no, in here when they are done, the cashier is done, you bag it for us and you will say thank you. Like they will have to tell us thank you before we carry the bag and go. Guys, because it's not easy to shop there. No, you have to bag it with their own branded nylon. Yes, with the branded nylon. You guys, I don't know. I don't know if I can ever cope or like I don't know if I will cope like that when I get to Germany because guys, yeah, it's something else. Okay.
So this is one thing that I'm not entirely sure if this is a difference or not. Definitely in my observations over the 3 years of living here, this is a difference. But I was surprised at how many lawn crews that we saw in the US, but I don't think I've ever seen a single lawn crew in Germany. So what I mean by that is a lot of Americans will hire big crews that will pull up with a big truck and a huge trailer behind them, and they'll be like a team of men that will come out and they'll mow and they'll bag up the grass and they'll rake your leaves and they'll do all these things for you. Not every American has this, but we were driving around and we saw a ton of those, at least in Texas and in Oklahoma in particular. I wouldn't be surprised if it does exist, but I would like to know, I mean, have you guys ever seen that in Germany? So I have to admit, you guys, there's one thing that has been commented on our videos for the past 3 years that honestly, like, it kind of would start to drive me nuts, and I would try to defend the US. And Aubrey and I had multiple discussions about this when we were in the US, but we were shocked at us driving by construction sites for homes or like apartment buildings and stuff, seeing the timber frame construction that was being done and thinking like, whoa, that looks like popsicle sticks. Like, is that gonna blow over? And I hate that because Germans have always been commenting on our videos. I don't understand why Americans build their homes with just wood like they do. I don't know why they don't use concrete or like cinder blocks like we do in Germany. It's just so much more stable, it's better. Or they'll say, you know, the US is only doing that because they're cheap and they're making their buildings out of paper mache. I wouldn't feel safe living in those. And I've always tried to defend it saying like, of course you'll feel safe living in them. I've always felt safe living in an American home. But then we really realized, like, I guess subconsciously, living here for 3 years, not going to the US for 2 years and seeing construction and just driving around Germany and seeing all of the heavy duty construction that we see, that whenever we were driving around and seeing the construction in the US, we for the first time, I think we're seeing it kind of like through a German lens and being like, whoa, that looks flimsy, man. So I don't know where I stand now. I know it's a legitimate means of construction. I don't know necessarily that, like, you know, I'm declaring I will always live in a cinder block or concrete home, but man, it was shocking how much that kind of scared us seeing that. And suddenly I was like, hey, all you people that have commented that the last 3 years on our videos, I'm sorry that I kind of got upset.
Like, guys, like, why? Like, how? How is it that you're building your home with woods? Like, what happens to normal concrete? Like, what happens to black? Yes, I want to ask. Because, guys, like, this feels safer. At least you know that nothing is going to fall. Like with words, what if something maybe an earthquake or something shakes? Like it can easily scatter. Like oh no, I'm in with Germany for this one. I'm in for Germany. Like we are together for this one. Yes.
So there is one particular grocery item that for some reason just kind of almost confuses us, and I would love your guys' insight on why this doesn't exist in Germany, especially with how much coffee Germans drink, but creamer does not exist in Germany, and we've looked for it for 3 years, and that's one of the consistent things that Americans that we know kind of complain about the coffee culture in Germany. You can just put milk, I get that, but these creamers that Americans always put in their coffees religiously if they don't drink it black, you don't get it in Germany. Everybody just puts regular milk in their coffee. And that's something that I'm kind of interested in. Why does that difference exist? But we thoroughly enjoy being in the US again, where there's creamers and just really getting a rich, creamy cup of coffee was delicious. To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is, if you could only drink one drink for the rest of your life, what would it be? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in our next video. We have been in Germany for 3.5 years. We have been living in Germany for 3.5 years now, and we haven't gone back to... So, one of the very first things that Aubrey and I noticed... Wait, did I even start recording? I don't think I even turned...
Okay, this is behind the scenes.
Apparently I did start recording.
Oh my god. You guys, and that's the end. Like a lot of differences. A lot. And some shocked me. Like even till now. Why is that there's no creamer in Germany? Like how? So they just drink their coffee. Okay, you say add milk, but how will it be? How? You guys, a lot of differences between Germany and America. And I say, okay, I have to say some points. Okay, some Nigeria agrees with, some from America, and some from Germany. Like we're just in the middle. We adapt from these people, we collect from these people, we just join it together. And that's how we live. That's how we roll. Okay, guys, what do you have to say about this, guys? What do you have to say? Share your thoughts in the comment section. And if there are other things you know in Germany or in America, but it's different from the opposite countries, guys, please share us in the comment section. Let us know. Like, give us a hint. Let us know what you have to say. Let's go out today you deserve, and we'll keep living under commanded blessings. See you guys in the next video. Bye.